Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with my tanned sidekick, Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, welcome back from spring break.
Thank you. Glad to be back. I could tell you have got a little extra pep in your step today when you walked in. I'm re-energized. I feel good. I'm ready, man. Spring sports are here. The sun's out. It's a good time to be.
Did you have the guns out when the sun was out in Florida?
Sun's out, guns out, baby. I did get stopped by the sheriff's department on the four-wheeler. He asked me if I had a concealed carry permit. I said, all good.
Okay, let's move on. Tate, you mentioned that we're going to finish basketball up. I know it's been a while, but our last show we were talking about sub-states and state tournaments and all that kind of stuff.
Lots happened since then.
Lots happened. But the spring sports, they're off and running. It's hard to believe, but we got district play, baseball and softball. I've always said about the spring sports, you blink and it's over.
I agree with that.
Happens so fast.
Don't you think that's because there's so many of them going at one time, though? That's got to be part of it.
Probably. And as the athletic director, this is my first real spring sports season, so I'm going to be flying around everywhere,
on the move.
Tennis and track, but I love it.
No doubt about it.
I love it.
Keep the gas card paid off because you're going to be running it a lot.
No doubt. Little local flavor during spring break. Independence and Nolensville baseball played. Indy with the sweep there. Fairview baseball and softball with big wins over Central Magnet during the break. And then, if you hadn't heard those shots coming out of Brentwood, Emily and Indy Cockrell have been going deep.
Talk about a concealed carry permit.
No kidding. Bombs.
Do they give those to people under 18?
No.
Those are rockets.
Well, you can't have that in schools anyway.
I know. little play on. Yeah, probably wasn't for a high school show the best. No, man, bombs. Well, I don't know if you saw Coach Powell put on Twitter on one of, I believe it was Emily's. I can't remember. She said it was the farthest home run she's seen at their field.
Well, did she say at their field or just period?
Or at Brentwood, maybe. That's
okay.
What she meant in her time at Brentwood.
Okay, I was going to say if she included all of her time, she's coached at some powerhouses.
Correct. She said at Brentwood for sure. Yes, that's a big time bomb.
No doubt about it. So it's exciting. We'll continue to talk spring sports as we progress. Really excited for these coaches and for these athletes. The season that didn't happen.
The season that didn't happen. I thought you were talking about that Independence Nolensville. This year they're figuring some things out, putting some pieces together. But I thought that Independence, one of the wins over Nolensville was 10-0. As we all know, Nolensville will be in the conversation for the AA state tournament. So I would say Independence lost a pretty big baseball prospect last year by the name of Mr. Hassel.
How do you even,
But the cupboard is obviously not bare for Coach McClory's.
How does Coach even get, I'm not trying to bring up bad feelings here, but how does he even get over that? You've got a guy that's a once in a lifetime kind of dude that really you probably don't even expect to have. And he's going to be playing high school baseball and then you don't have the season?
Right.
Golly. It's got to be rough.
Well,
got to move on
anymore. He's been through the draft and saw his dad, Robert. He said that he's doing very well. So, got his own trading card.
It's pretty neat.
Pretty neat.
Tops.
Yeah. That's
Upper Deck, Fleer, Donruss.
I would say that's how you know you've arrived.
No doubt about it. Okay, Tate, let's do this. Let's talk about basketball. This will be we'll put the bow on the basketball. Am I saying that right? We're putting the bow on the season?
Yeah. Wrapping it up.
So, girls basketball. Let's talk state tournament. The time of our last show, Paige was entering the state tournament for the first time ever. What a historic run by Coach Brock and the Lady Patriots. They go down to Maryville 57-39, but I'm telling you, they really represented themselves well at the state tournament.
Yeah, and you said it going in. Maryville was very athletic. They were older. And a really good basketball program, too. So I almost said football. They're good at everything. It's funny how that works, right? I think they're good at everything.
Bet they have a good principal, too.
But that's right. Well, a good friend of mine says coaches and players win games. Good administration wins championships. I thought that was pretty good. You need it all.
No doubt.
over and over. You can win. There can be a fluke win. There's here and there, but you don't win multiple ones without having good coaches, good players, good admin. But yeah, you're right. They represented very well. Got beat by, you hate to say it, but probably a better team. Is that fair?
Yeah, and I think as much as better, older added to it as well. Not that Paige isn't experienced, but Paige, no seniors on the team.
Right.
Maryville, 3 seniors. One, Danae Fritz. She was Miss Basketball. She's committed to Iowa State. She had 20 points, 10 rebounds in that game. They also have an East Tennessee signee. They also have a young lady going to Carson Newman. So if you could fast forward a year and say these two teams could have played at the same ages, it really could have been different.
Yeah, you would have liked to have seen that for sure. And it was a ball game at the half.
It was 29-22. It was one of those things that Maryville jumped up early, and Paige just kept hanging. Abigail Ward hit a couple big threes for Paige in the first half. She and I thought Mackenzie Cochran really did a good job keeping them in the game. Second half, Lily Wilkin certainly picked it up as well. But they were always on the outside of getting really, really back into it. It was like 29-22 at the half. Cochran hits a big three for Paige to start the half, makes it 29-25. But then Maryville responded with a 5-0 run. That's kind of the way it went. Paige scored, but then Maryville run. Paige scored a couple times, Maryville run. That's the way the night really went.
Yeah, and one too many runs. And then the 3-ball never really got going for Paige. What do you think they had to shoot probably to win that game? Being the 40% for threes?
At least high 30s. And let me tell you what happens. And I was at the game talking to someone about this, and it took me 3 trips to totally figure it out. It's one of the reasons you want to, I think, practice in a college gym if you can. There are 3 sets of lines, and it's human nature to shoot behind the furthest line because that's what you're always doing. So there's the high school line, there's the women's line, there's the men's line. So a lot of times you see these players shooting the ball short in those games because they're shooting further back than they're used to shooting. Right. I think it's a factor.
You said that last year. I think 100% it is. And everything happened so fast, and Maryville's defense had a lot to do with that too. It's not like you have time to look down.
Right.
I mean, it's a second decision. I think that's a great point. Sounds like a guy who's probably been there and been through it before. But I think that's a great point. I'm sure that is a big part of it.
If you've got someone who shoots 6 and 7 feet behind the line anyway, maybe it doesn't matter. But most people, especially at the high school level, they do what I call toeing the line. They're going to be pretty close to it. So if you're only used to being maybe a little bit behind the line and all of a sudden you're backing up 3 and 4 feet, that makes a huge difference now.
Big time.
Huge difference.
Especially over the course of a game.
They shot 28% on the night, 6 for 24 from three-point range, and 4 for 26 in the second half overall field goal percentage. So it shows you what great competitors they are, that they hung in the game like they did. Mackenzie Cochran ended a great junior season with 17 points. Lily Wilkin, 14 points, 12 rebounds. And then we mentioned Abigail Ward with a couple big threes in the first half. Did you see what Mackenzie said after the game?
I did not.
It was something to the effect of, we'll take tonight off. It was like 10 o'clock when she said
tomorrow.
This. She said, but I expect everybody will have a ball in their hand tomorrow.
Good.
I'm like, man, and keeping in mind, too,
no seniors.
And they're 3A, not 4A. Although, I'll tell you this, Paige, you can do it. But they're going to be with Upperman and Macon County. That's their region next year. So it's in a lot of ways, not during the season, but the tournament actually could be tougher.
Could be tougher, that's right. Upperman and Macon County they take it very serious. The other thing about that is those are some serious road trips. Now, there's serious road trips on the other hand when they have to come to Rutherville, but you've been to, and by the way, it's Lafayette. Yes. Don't roll up in there and call it Lafayette.
It's like
could get hit upside the head.
It's like where my wife's from in Kentucky, Versailles. It's certainly not Versailles.
That's awesome.
Hey, this week's gym I'm kind of proud of, Tate. Paige, I love, trends. 2 years ago.
Upward trends.
Yes. Yeah, downward trends we don't like.
Yeah.
2 years ago, region semis. Last year, sectionals. This year, state tournament.
Boom.
So next year, maybe it means win a game or two at the state. Listen, they'll be in with a shot.
Hey, math wasn't always my best, but pretty good. 37 points coming back in a state tournament game between Mackenzie, Lily, and Abigail. You got to feel pretty strong about that.
And they've got every rebound, every assist. It's all coming back, right?
Yeah, that's all coming back.
Great season for Coach Brock and Paige.
Coach Brock's coming back.
He's coming back. So I know they're proud of it. Maryville did end up losing a tough semifinal to Blackman, the eventual state champion, over a very good Lebanon team. So great state tournament.
Great state tournament, and I know this is a WCS show. We're WCS fans, no doubt about that. But I did think it was very cool. Single A, double A, triple A, all mid-state champions. We kept them all right here. I can tell, I know, you don't care, but I thought it was pretty neat.
Well, okay, yeah, I don't say I don't care.
No, I'm with you. Are you cheering for Alabama? No, I'm not cheering for Alabama. Well, you're an SEC fan, aren't you? No, I'm not. Give a rip.
But I am a WCS fan.
I know you
But
are.
when I was at a school, I was like, well, whatever.
You can care less about mine. I get it. I thought it was pretty cool. Women's basketball in the mid-state has clearly head and shoulders better now. And it
Well-
wasn't always the case.
Well, and I'm going to say this too, just Tennessee in general, it's head and shoulders. When you're talking about girls' high school basketball, nothing's really better than here.
No. And we're getting better in WCS.
We really are. We talk about that a lot. And, gone are the days where it was Coach Sigenthaler and Brentwood and no one else.
Right.
Now we've got several teams. that
Every
really,
once in a while, Hillsboro might creep if they were loaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. It's really exciting.
For sure.
Let's talk about the boys' season. Sectionals going into that last show. We were talking about Franklin going on the road to take on Clarksville. Now, listen, I know I'm biased, not only for WCS, but certainly this group of guys at Franklin. I felt like Franklin, I just thought that was a game they would win. And I know they felt that way too. And really, I really feel like it's a game maybe they win 8 or 9 times out of 10. Now, that doesn't mean they blew it. It doesn't mean anything like that. It just means it was Clarksville's night. It was a great game too. Great game.
Yeah, it was for sure. Most of their postseason games were, and you mentioned it going into that game. That's a tough place to go and play, and it's a little bit the gym's different.
It's dark.
Coach Young's been there a long time. They're going to be athletic, and he's one. I kind of like the way he does it. I don't think he really worries too much about what regular season record is. He's worried about where we're going, and they're a tough matchup. But
He told me once, because I coached against him a lot when I was at Beach, he said, and I believe this about him, that I don't really watch game film during the season. He said, I don't really get serious about that till the postseason. And I'll say this about him. Does that make it where maybe you get some things in on them during the year? Probably. But I'll tell you this about Clarksville's team, and I've always thought it. They're confident. They know exactly what they want to do.
right.
And they do a good job of doing that. So I think that hyper focus on themselves makes really a huge difference for them. I do.
They got to the state tournament.
They did. First time in about a decade, I believe. In this game, Franklin jumped out early 10-5. And to me, it looked like they were going to control the game. But once it was tied at 15, there were 10 lead changes in the first half. Think about it. 10 lead changes in the first half.
First half.
It was
Just
incredible.
Going back and forth.
It was incredible. You go to the second half, much of the same, right? Kind of back and forth. There's 5 minutes left in the third. Reed Kemp hits a couple big free throws for Franklin, puts them up 38-32. And again, you're thinking, okay, they've got it. They're rolling. And I believe, I may be wrong about this, but I believe they even had a shot. Franklin did maybe a 3 when the score was 38-32. And you really felt like, okay, they score this possession, it's really going to be a dagger. But what ends up happening? Clarksville goes on a 10-0 run. Now they're up 42-38, and you're like, okay, dang, Clarksville's got momentum. Wait just a second. Matt Thurman, a couple big buckets to start the fourth quarter, were 42 all. And that was just the nature of this game, back and forth.
Yeah, and especially with this team, the seniors were going to play almost the whole game if they didn't play the whole game, and you exert so much energy coming back from those runs, but they did every time. They just You know, I saw a thing one time. We didn't lose. We ran out of time. Would that be fair here? I didn't get to see the ending, but I think maybe Franklin just ran out of time.
Well, no, I think that's very well said. It was a matter of who was going to make the last run, and Clarksville made it. If it would have been 4 more minutes, I'm sure Franklin would have made it.
Right.
And if it had been 4 more minutes, then so it was just a matter of who made the run at the right time. Reed Kemp, obviously, great year, great career. He has a big traditional, I'd call it a traditional three-point play. The score the two, get fouled, hits the free throw, they go up. But then Clarksville answers. J.J. Wheat, who a lot of people think he's a junior, he's a Division I level player. And I'm going to say this, and I know I'm biased for a lot of different reasons. I mean, I love Reed Kemp and WCS, and right. He was the best player on the floor. I kept hearing about J.J. Wheat, great player. He scored 12 of the teams. He was a team leader with 23 points. He scored 12 in the last 3 minutes. 8 for 9 from the free throw line. He made a big steal there at the end. I'm telling you, though, Reed was the best player on the floor that night. He was.
Yeah. He's been fun to watch, no doubt about it. I was going to add, not that it has anything to do with it, just out of the fan in me, do you know his senior year, did he score more points than Reese did, or do you know?
I don't know that.
It had to have been close.
It probably was close, but I don't see the number of games, 32. Reese's senior year, 35, so 3 more games makes a difference,
that could
too.
be over 100 points.
Yeah, I don't know if he was averaging the same. I don't know exactly Reed's average. It was over 20. I think Reese was 24, 25 his senior year. My guess is no, but certainly it was. I think it was close. In this game, we mentioned the ties and the lead change and all this. 9 ties, 20 lead changes. Now, when you add to, it's 59-53. It's not like it's 94 to 91. 59-53, which is fairly low scoring. 9 ties, 20 lead changes.
Yeah. I'd say the fans got their money's worth on that ticket.
It was exciting. It was really exciting, and just too bad they came up on the short end. Reed Kemp finished his career with a 26-point night. Matt Thurman, 15 points that night. And I'm going to tell you this. Matt, to me, was one of the reasons Franklin played. I mean, they played well all year, right? They won 24 games in a row, for crying out loud. But I thought they kind of went to a next level in the postseason. I think Matt had a lot to do with that.
No doubt about it. And I thought, we talked about that a long time ago. Ultimate teammate, great player, adapted his game a little bit. You got to love that. He very easily could be the leading scorer on that team too. But that wasn't what was best for the team, and that's what. You got to love a guy like that. I would think that all banquets as a coach, you got to be tough. But for Coach Tigert and Coach Anderson, Coach Davenport, to see this group of seniors go, that's going to have to be pretty emotional, man. These guys, we need to go back and do it. But 28 games, they won well over 100 games.
I saw that
class.
somewhere. They won maybe 20 or 21 last year, and then the previous 2, 55 total. So.
That's got to be a record.
4 pretty good years.
Even going back to the England, because I don't think they played that many, right?
Yeah, maybe. But they were 37-2, I think, the year they won it. So that's a lot of games there.
That's a lot of games.
So certainly in that conversation, I think it was written that they had won the most. Now, obviously, not all of them played varsity. Now, Matt and Reed did. They were varsity level players that first year. Other seniors on that team, just listen, and I know because I know them. You're talking about some great guys and some great families. Connor Bevan, Mason Jones, Aiden Smiley, Taylor Spirito. Man, what a special group of young men. You couldn't be happier for them. 28-4, it's hard to go, hey, we're disappointed, 28-4. But like we always talk about, ultimately, only one team isn't disappointed.
That's right.
You always want more.
You always want more. Hey, I thought this was pretty cool. I didn't notice this. I didn't know this till the other day. The Franklin State Championship team, Kevin Anglin's team, Coach Jay Johnson's team, they beat Whites Creek. You know who's on that team?
Yes, I do, Marlon Sims.
Marlon Sims, the Cane Ridge coach. That's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
No,
I think
still
that's
hate
great.
that we lost, but pretty neat, man. It's how it all.
And you mentioned that because
they lost to Cane Ridge in the region championship, but then that's also who they went in and Clarksville lost to Houston,
That's
correct?
right. That's right.
And then Cane Ridge lost in the state championship to Houston. I did not get to see that, but that score made me go, wow, they clearly were the best team in the state.
Well, what's interesting, Clarksville may have played them better than anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was tight. And I'm telling you, Clarksville's not very big. Kind of a smaller team, play great defense, really quick hands. But Cane Ridge, I thought it was interesting too because I was thinking, and I was hoping I was going to be wrong. But you had asked me, can Cane Ridge win the state tournament? And before you got the question out, I said, no. They can't win 3 in a row, which they didn't. But I'm telling you, they were right there with a chance, and I'm so happy for them. Coach Sim's a great guy. And we talked about this too, what those young men have been through, and those young ladies that play basketball there in Nashville. For them to be able to come out and play, hadn't been in school in forever. They haven't exactly done it the way we've done it here.
Right.
Weren't playing games like we were playing. It's hard not to smile and be happy for them.
I was. I've told you, we've talked off air and on air. I'm a big fan of Marlon Sims and Joanne Tribuse. I think they do it the right way. Hey, they weren't the ones who didn't want to play and practice. And to come out, and that was the first loss. And I didn't realize that either. They ended up, I think 16-1, 17-1. They only played 6 regular season games.
It's unbelievable.
That's nuts, and it also says we're probably playing too many tournament games. But whatever, it's fun for the fans. But yeah, that was big for them. Do we have time for a fan question to the coach?
Oh no!
Ask the coach.
So if I can't answer this, we're going to actually dub it out, right? Is he cut it out? Cut it out.
Who's the best of all the state tournaments you went to? Whether you were participating or not, who's the best team you think you ever saw? Golly, that's the team. Any class, doesn't matter.
In Tennessee,
yes,
it would be Bearden 2 years ago.
You got to see that one up close.
Yeah, I was feeling really good about myself at the half, and even with 4 minutes left in the third. And then all of a sudden, about 12 minutes later, I felt really bad.
Yeah.
They dominated that tournament. And listen, again, I know I'm biased. I think we had the second best team.
I do too.
I really do. I mean, nobody led them with 4 minutes left in the third. Now, obviously, there's the rest of the story there. But I'm going to say that Bearden team, they had 6 college players.
They were legit, man.
2 Power 5 players, both in the SEC.
I can remember that was the year went to one of the games with Dr. Qualls. I think that was the year you all played Bearden. That Lawson kid, who's a senior now for Jonathan Lawson, right, who's a senior for Houston. I think he was on East teams there then. Freshman, right? And they would play him. They were kind of doing like a 1-3-1 press, and they had him up top and so big and so long. I remember seeing him then thinking, oh, my goodness. And now he's a senior, so I can imagine he had a big –
And Bearden dominated them.
Bearden dominated them, ran them.
I mean, they did. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. By the way, he plays for Houston now, third school. But whatever. It's a different show.
So to wrap it up, all the basketball players out there and coaches and families, I'm telling you, basketball and wrestling, I think were the 2 biggest concerns for myself with the fall and winter sports in terms of getting through them. Once football started, I felt pretty good about it. We definitely had some hiccups just because of the times of the year. But congratulations to everyone for getting through it. Congratulations to the administration, the athletic directors, the coaches, the players, the parents, community, everybody.
Everybody.
For getting through those seasons. Not out of the woods yet here, but at least we're outside.
That's a big help, without a doubt. And outside of soccer, not really contact. Baseball's not contact.
No, the nature
Softball's not contact.
No, the nature of those sports, dugouts are issues, right? But you can do some things to stay apart.
Right.
And so no different really than a class. I mean, you're confined in a class, so and plus you're outside. So
Continue to mask up.
Yeah, Phil, please. I feel really good about it though. I do feel good about it. There's a lot we could talk about, but any storylines in WCS for the spring that you're looking at or thinking about or?
It's a little bit tough because we didn't get to have it last year, right? So, I think both baseball and softball I'm interested to see. Brentwood's dominated softball the past few years. Is this the year that Independence and them become number 1? Summit, I think Summit felt like they had a really good chance last year. And then baseball, I think those 2 are more wide open than both of them have been in a year. Can Brentwood track continue to dominate? History would say yes. And then I would say, can we get through it? But I think we will. I mean, we've done it every other season. So,
And
what about you?
And don't forget about tennis. So, and boys soccer. For me, it's not if, but when and which sports are we going to have our next team state title in?
Ooh,
I think we're going to have multiple.
I would say the odds are on track.
I'd say track and tennis both have a really good chance, and
Yes.
the others will be in with a chance too. And obviously a lot of individual champions.
I got one for you. We've had 2 baseball teams in the state tournament before. Can we get 2 softball teams? That's a good one. I think this could be the year we could get 2 softball teams in the state tournament. That'd be
Well,
pretty
we're
neat.
certainly knocking on the door. And again, you've been here longer than me, but I think I know this. For years, Brentwood was the dominant team in Middle Tennessee. Then it became Beach. Beach kind of supplanted Brentwood, and then I think this district kind of fell off a little bit. But now, much like girls basketball, on the rise, when you've got coaches like, and they're not the only 2, but when you think about Erica Powell, where she's been and what she's done, my man out at Independence, he can coach a little bit.
He's got. I was going to say he's got 2 AAA state championships.
So he knows the deal, and you just go down the line. Those aren't the only 2, but I think you're seeing the strength of the league really increase. And obviously baseball, tennis, track, soccer, we've been there before. We're going to just continue to be there. But yeah, softball is one. I think you're right. It's coming.
Yep, that'd be pretty cool to see that one. Get a state championship, be fun. Tennis, yeah. I'd say odds-on favorite of tennis. Track is number 2. Let's get 2 in baseball, and then a third with Nolensville.
That's right.
And then let's get 2 in softball. I'd say that'd be a good spring.
What did your district do this spring?
Yeah.
That's the fun part of this job.
They're hugging your neck.
Because see, I couldn't really do this as the coach. I mean, some would say I sort of did it, but not really.
You kind of did.
Come on. But as the district AD, I could just let it go, man. Just talk trash.
I love how you don't even try to hide it.
Well, I'm assuming this is a pretty WCS friendly show, although our friends out in Gallatin are
I was
watching.
going to ask, how's Gallatin softball? We need to ask old Captain Earbleeder.
Tate, it's great to be back.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate the crew here at WCTV for having us again. Looking forward to spring sports.
Hey, the other thing too, spring football right around the corner.
That's right.
Hey, it's almost 1st April, man. It won't be long.
Won't be long.
Who's going to win the national championship?
Well, I don't confidently say this, but I picked Iowa. Just because I didn't want to do like everybody else and pick Gonzaga. Oh, you picked, that's a surprise.
Yeah, but they never win it. Everybody always picks
Well, who
them.
you got? I'm going Iowa.
I didn't even do it, so I'm going with Abilene Christian.
Okay, that's not happening.
They're still in it.
That's true. As of the taping of the show.
That's right. I'm going Houston.
The high school Houston and the college Houston.
Yes, they're gonna bump up. They probably could.
It's interesting. Tate, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, man, always fun. Can't wait to see you next week.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.